Now joined by one of the GeneralSports.com athletes of the week, it's Dalton Jobe of the men's swimming team. Dalton, this past weekend, you raced in 3 different events, 3 wins in the 200 free, 500 free, and the 200 IM. Just take us through Saturday's win against Gettysburg.
Started out pretty strong with the 200 free. I surprised myself with that one, and I went faster than I expected. And then after that race, I talked to my coach, and she was just like, she said, great job. And she's like, I want you to push it even harder and go out even faster in your next 2 races. So I listened to her advice, and that's exactly what I did in my 500 and my 200 IM. And I was happy to come out with the win on those 2. So
Saturday was, the first event back. Your last event was pre-Thanksgiving even, so you had almost an extended winter break, but you did have a trip to Florida in there as a training trip. What did you take out of that experience, and how did that time off between the fall season into the main portion of the season, last week and the next couple of weeks, do for you in terms of getting into more of a training rhythm and making use of that extra time off?
So after our last meet in the fall, the Franklin and Marshall Invitation, I actually broke my hand. So I was out for a few weeks, and I came back in mid-December and got right back after it. And the training trip was a time where I was just able to really get some good training in with my teammates. So I think that really helped me get back to where I was in the fall. And I could not have done it without the help of my teammates and them pushing me along, because although the training trip was a lot of fun, it was a lot of hard work.
Obviously, first year at the collegiate level, what's been the biggest difference for you? Maybe something you didn't anticipate being maybe as big of a challenge, or the biggest difference you've come across from the club and high school level to here at the college level?
More so the managing of school and swim. With all clubs and different activities here, if I miss a practice, it's on me to make it up, and I have to do that on my own time. Whereas club, I would go to the same practice the same time every single day. But here, I have to be a lot more flexible, and I have to find the time on my own.
And lastly, you have a couple meets the next 2 weekends, and then the conference championship less than a month away. What are you doing over the next couple of weeks to get yourself in great shape and for the best possible condition for the conference championship in a matter of 3 weeks?
Really trying to focus on the details in the pool and out of the pool. Make sure I'm eating the right foods, and really focusing on turns, finishes, starts, the little things that often are forgotten.
He's Dalton Jobe of the men's swimming team, one of our GeneralSports.com athletes of the week. Dalton, thanks for joining us, and best of luck.
Thank you.
Now joined by one of the GeneralSports.com athletes of the week, it's Mary Schleusner of the women's basketball team. Mary, coming off an incredible week. If you look at the averages, over 22 points, 19.5 rebounds, 5 blocks over a 2-game stretch. You set a individual game record for most rebounds in a game. You were named Conference Player of the Week, D3Hoops.com. Team of the Week for the first time ever in the women's basketball program has someone from the women's basketball team been named to that team. Just talk about the whirlwind of the week and kind of everything looking back on it now, just a few days removed.
Yeah, so, I don't really know what to say. It was a ton of fun these past 2 games. We sort of just came off the CNU game, and we lost by 2 after 2 overtimes, which sort of stunk, but we sort of showed ourselves how well we can play and who we could compete with, and the seniors remind us of that before every game now. Anna Dorda keeps telling us that we're like one step away from sort of unlocking the team that we really are, so they're doing a great job at pushing us. They're doing a great job at motivating us, and I couldn't ask for better leaders that has sort of got us to where we are today.
On an individual level, that game last Wednesday against Roanoke, 25 points, program best, 23 rebounds, the most ever in a game. When you're rebounding is one of those skills that it's hard to teach. You just kind of almost have to know where to be. As someone who has kind of made a knack for rebounding now, almost 12 rebounds a game, just how does it come so easy to yourself?
Well, my mom's always told me that I can jump, and it'll be a waste if I don't use that skill, so I just sort of think it's fun. I get called a lot for over the back, so that's definitely a bummer, but in college now, the refs aren't calling me for that as much, so it's definitely a treat, and it's definitely something fun I get to do. Yeah, I mean, the coaches always tell us that, I mean, as a team, not even as an individual, we are one of the best rebounding teams in the country. And, I mean, we get reminded of the rebounding margin at halftime. It's sort of something we all work towards together. And something that I really just, think that is so important, way more important than points. I think a new possession on offense or finishing out our defensive possession, if we get a stop, I think that's the most important thing. So it's a ton of fun. Jump high, grab the ball, 2 hands, like the coaches said, don't lose it. So,
and then transitioning to Saturday, the game against Randolph-Macon, you did it in a variety of ways, 19 points, 16 rebounds, 7 blocks, but you also made 3 threes in that game. Shooting has become something you've been a little bit more ambitious in taking outside shots as the season's come along. I don't think you consider yourself a shooter just yet, but how is that development of the shot coming along and adding a new dimension to your game offensively?
So like you said, I've never been a shooter. I would never consider myself a shooter, and I think other teams have sort of caught on to that. So if I'm at the 3 with the ball, they will be standing in the paint because I've taken, previous to this game, I've probably taken 2 threes the entire season. And so they sort of just stand in the paint. I don't know if my teammates would have liked it. I was like, if they're going to give this to me, I'm just going to pull it. And so close my eyes, cross my fingers, like one of my friends, Katie Lawson, said. So I just did that, and they were fun for some reason. I don't really know why. We like to play this game at practice, and we played it a ton at Randolph-Macon where we just stand along the 3 and however many we can make in a row. And all my teammates were screaming at me like, it's the game, it's the game. So I mean, that was a ton of fun.
A 9-0 start to conference play, one of the best starts to conference play in program history. 2 more conference games again this week on the road on Wednesday at Shenandoah, home on Saturday against Lynchburg. How do you keep the momentum rolling again through this week?
Yeah, I mean, I think it just goes down to the basics of the coaches just pulling some great film. We learn it in practice. We learn it before practice. We go and execute, and it's just everybody on the team is working together to run that scout D, to push you, to make sure that you're learning. They give you tips. Emma Robertson is amazing at giving me tips, knows my weaknesses, will point them out to me in practice so I can get better. I mean, I can't thank them enough. I mean, everybody's just working together super well in the past couple practices, and I think that is really reflecting on the outcomes of the games.
She's Mary Schleusner of the women's basketball team, one of our GeneralSports.com athletes of the week. Mary, thanks for joining us, and best of luck this week.
Thank you so much.